2016 meeting of the Agenda Charter Committee will now come to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Chairwoman Conley,
Here.
Mr. Delahanty,
Here.
Mr. Moyo,
Here.
Ms. Taylor,
Here.
Mr. Wilcox.
Here.
The next item on the agenda is a public forum. Is there anyone signed up for the public forum?
There's not.
Is there anyone present who would like to address the committee but who did not sign up for public forum at this time? Okay, the next agenda item is the approval of minutes, and you have the June 27th, 2016 minutes before you. They'll stand approved unless the clerk is notified of any changes by the end of the day. The next item on the agenda is new business.
Referral 16-0218, confirmation of appointment.
Second.
Moved by Legislator Taylor, seconded by Legislator Delahanty. Is there any discussion? There being none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Next item on the agenda.
Referral 16-0234, and
Move it, Madam Chairwoman.
Moved by Legislator Delahanty, seconded by Legislator Taylor. Is there any discussion? Legislator Moyo.
Madam Chair, through you to the administration, I have a number of clarifying questions about Section 1 of the proposed amendment to the charter.
I'm sorry, Legislator Moyo, can you pull the microphone a little bit
Yes.
closer?
Excuse me, thank you.
Thanks.
Sorry about that. Through you, Madam Chairwoman, to the administration, I have a number of questions about Section 1 of the proposed charter amendments. So to the administration, through the chair, what are the current services that are provided by public health? If you could give us an overview, please.
Through you, Chair. The services are numerous. I'm not sure if you have anything in mind, but the public health has clinics, TB clinics. There's an adolescent clinic, environmental health clinics. The medical examiner comes under the auspices. The WIC program. We could provide you with a more detailed list, but you have anything specifically in mind?
Thank you for that answer. I guess my second question, maybe it would make it a little more clear, is what is the operating budget for public health for 2016?
You got that?
And again, that's, excuse me, through the chair and to the administration. Thank you.
Madam Chair, if you'll accept a round number, it's about $70 million.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand your answer. I'm sorry. I have a hard time when your back is to me.
Madam Chair, if you accept a round number, the operating budget is roughly $70 million. If you'd like a more precise number, I'll provide that before the next ledge meeting.
Legislator Moyer, do you have further questions?
Yes, I do. Thank
Okay.
you. The language of Section 1 of the proposed amendment to the charter seems to indicate, and maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong, so through the chair and to the administration, that it'd be possible for us to contract to outsource the services of the public health department to a private entity. Am I reading that correctly?
Chair, I would say you are reading it correctly.
Is there any follow-up?
Yes.
Okay.
So through the chair and to the administration, we could imagine if this amendment passes that there would be a private entity that would be administering these services and county employees would be answerable to this private entity. Would there be I guess I would like an answer to that question.
Through the chair, we have contracts now, like with our hospital, that Strong provides medical services, and we have county employees that also are providing medical services in a manner in which they would answer to the doctors, the nurses that provide it, and the healthcare providers. So I could imagine that they would answer to the contract services, but they would ultimately be county employees.
And as a specific question through the chair and to the administration, would the medical examiner be responsible to somebody at the third-party provider?
I don't see any situation where the medical examiner would report on her professional obligations to them. The budget would be with the county, so no, I believe the medical examiner would be independent even if you contracted out that service.
Through the chair and to the administration, do you think it might be beneficial to spell that out in the language of the charter, in that it seems rather important? And especially if the administration doesn't know the answer to the question that I just asked, it might be a good idea to make it more specific.
Through the chair, are you making a motion to amend that? Is that?
I am not specifically making a motion to amend. I mean, I didn't get a clear answer. You said that you believe, and so it didn't seem set in stone. So
Well,
it's an amendment to our charter.
Can I just ask the question and go through the chair?
So every part of the colloquy, you want me to say the words through the chair?
At this point, yes.
He wasn't doing that either.
I'm asking, going forward, if we can have things go through the chair, please.
Okay.
Thank you. So, I believe Legislator Moore, you're in the middle of a question.
Was I?
Oh, is there any further questioning at this time?
Yes, Madam Chair. I do have a number of. I'm not done asking questions. I mean, I was addressed directly, so that's why I answered directly.
And I'm just saying, going forward, let's have everything go through the chair, please.
Okay.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? Legislator Wilcox.
Thank you. Through the chair to the administration, so you said this is a $70 million budget this year for Public Health Department. So, and you had answered the question that Legislator Monroe had asked about potentially outsourcing the entire department, if we read that correctly, and you answered yes. So could we reasonably expect that we're talking about roughly outsourcing a 70, well, at least this would be permissible under this. Would it be permissible to outsource this $70 million department?
Through the chair, I think you may have misunderstood my answer. The outsourcing, and we have done this recently through Dr. Cushman, is of the commissioner.
That's helpful, because I think through you, through the chair, I just want to make sure I actually understand his answer now, because that was a very different answer from what you gave Legislator Monroe. Legislator Monroe made the distinction between commissioner services and the Department of Public Health Services. Are we talking specifically here only about commissioner services?
Through the chair, yes, for the purposes of Legislator Moyo's question, if you interpret it as meaning the whole department would be contracted out, I was mistaken. It would be the commissioner's job, and we've done that currently. Dr. Mendoza is on contract, as was Dr. Cushman.
And excuse me, through the chair, didn't the state admonish us for that?
Through the chair, I wouldn't use the term admonish. The state prefers that we have a full-time director, and that's one of the reasons that we're seeking to have Dr. Mendoza serve in that capacity.
And through the chair, to be clear, I don't think the state prefers. Wouldn't it be better to say the state requires?
Through the chair, I'm not going to argue semantics with you.
Well, I don't think through the chair, I don't think it's semantics. I think one is clearly in statute, the other is not.
We've had contract part-time people
Improperly,
before.
through the chair, I believe that was improperly according to state DOT, or DOH.
through the chair, I have no response to
Okay, through
that
the chair, to
argument.
be clear, I just want to be clear because,
Legislator Wilcox, I just want to ask you to please allow the person from the administration table the opportunity to finish answering your question.
okay.
If, Mr. Van Stradek, do you have anything further to add? Thank you.
Okay, so I'm not clear, Madam Chairwoman, I'm not clear on the answer whether or not the state would allow us a part-time commissioner. It sounds like the county's position is that the state law does allow us to have a part-time chair. Through the chair to the administration, could you please clarify?
Through the chair, it's our understanding that the state's preference and the statute provides for a full-time public health director.
And through the chair, the amendments we're looking at don't change that, correct? We would still be required to have a full-time commissioner?
The amendment does not change that. Through the chair, there is the opportunity to alter that through local law.
So-
Legislator Deli, just a second, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I wasn't done asking questions.
That's why I said just a second. I apologize. Legislator Wilcox, please proceed.
Okay, thank you. So you believe this local law would allow us to have a part-time commissioner? If we were to, through the chair, you believe that this local law, the amendment to the charter will allow us to pass a local law to have a part-time commissioner?
Through the chair, we could amend the local charter for contract services. We could hire as an employee full-time services, but the requirement by this code is for a full-time commissioner.
Okay. So we would still be in compliance with New York State law and have an actual commissioner through the chair, but not necessarily be performed, that commissioner wouldn't necessarily perform all the functions. They would outsource those functions, correct?
Through the chair, I'm not clear on what the question is.
Okay, so would this law, do we believe we'd still have to, through the chair, do we believe we'd still have to have a designated commissioner, a person that the county legislature appoints, but that the functions of that commissioner could be outsourced?
No, it's two different, through the chair, it's two different points in this law. One is a full-time commissioner who is able to do 8 hours or the equivalent of outside work, which is the local law is superseding the state law. And it allows so that the county can contract if needed. So if we get in a situation like we were in the last 2 times, we'd be able to contract, we'd have a legal precedent for it to address the state's issue. Because you were correct, the state had concerns. Now we would have it legally in the ordinance, so we'd be all set.
So, okay, I think you actually answered the question, and I think that is, yes, we would not have to have an actual commissioner, but that it could be, through the chair, that it could be, the functions could be performed by outsourcing as an alternative.
Through the chair, no, that's not what I meant. There would
Okay.
be a commissioner either way.
Okay.
One would be a commissioner that would be an employee of the county. The other alternative, if needed, would be like with Dr. Cushman or Dr. Mendoza, where it'd be a contract.
Can I just ask a point of clarification?
Yes.
What is the need for a contract service public commissioner versus, why is the belief that this is needed, that we would need a contract service commissioner as opposed to one that is appointed by the county executive and then confirmed by the legislature?
Because the situation arose with the last 2 commissioners that we did need to go out for a contract. We didn't have someone willing to perform the service as a full-time employee of the county. And we cannot go without a commissioner for even a day, really. And so we use this, and we want to legalize it so that going forward, there won't be an issue with New York State. It will be in the county law. So that if we get in that situation again ever, we'd be covered.
And through the chair, if I may supplement that, I can advise the legislators that even with our advertisement for this position, there were very few qualified applicants, and this would give us the opportunity to contract if we needed to do so.
Okay. And since you brought that up through you, Madam Chairwoman, did we ever form a search committee?
I'm not sure, through the chair, I'm not sure who the "we" is, if you're
The
saying.
county.
The county, yes, we did.
We had a search committee. Can you tell me who was on that search committee?
I was on a search committee. Mr. Molinari was on the search committee. Mr. Brayton Connors was on a search committee. There was someone from legal. There were 2 or 3 others. I can give you
Okay.
other names if you wish them, but
That would be great. And could you tell me what the search committee did to try to come up with qualified candidates? Just since he brought it up through the chair.
through the chair, we advertised for it. We reached out to some providers in the community. Dr. Cushman was very helpful in providing us with some information about some who might be interested in it. We didn't just do the advertisement, we did reach out as well.
Okay. And through the chair, when you say you advertise, can you tell me how you advertise?
I just want to say that I don't see how the search process for a candidate, we're talking about amending the charter.
That's actually,
Just a minute.
Searching for a new candidate, where we're actually talking about amending the charter. So I would like the legislator to stick to asking questions about amending the charter.
through the chair, I
Just a
certainly.
minute, I need to rule on the point of order. And Legislator Delahanty, I understand your concern. However, I'm going to give Legislator Wilcox a bit of leeway just because the reason that we're amending the charter is because we have been in a situation where we've been unable to attract an appropriate candidate, and so I'd like to have just a little bit of leeway about the process of how that occurred as a basis for amending the charter. So I'm going to overrule your point of order at this time. You may. I guess we'll go to a roll call vote.
Yes sustains the, oh,
There's no second, the motion fails. Legislator Wilcox, would you like to continue your questioning?
You know what, I think, one last question. I think we could, I feel fairly confident that if I was to ask some of these questions in writing, I'd probably get an answer with respect to the advertising and how that was done. So I very much appreciate your ruling. Could you please just tell me, has the county reached out to the state, through the chair, has the county reached out to the state to see whether or not this amendment, whether they believe this is consistent with state law?
It's my understanding that the legal reached out to Onondaga County, who has similar situation, and there is a 4th Department case that was relied upon to provide us with the authority. We can provide you with the citation for that if you would like it. I don't have it right now.
Actually, I would greatly appreciate that.
I actually have the site. I'd be happy to share it.
Oh.
It's the Village of Tully versus Harris at 119 AD 2nd, 7.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I have no further questions at this time.
Legislator Moyo.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. To follow up on a statement from the administration, so through the chair and to the administration, you seem to indicate that having the contract is a less desired alternative to having a non-contract worker. Am I to believe that that's correct?
The chair, it certainly is our desire. I couldn't argue with someone who had a different opinion, but it would be our opinion that having someone as a full-time employee who could be available full-time and not worried about contract obligations would be the more desirable way.
Thank you. And through the chair to the administration, just to be clear then, that this amendment to the charter doesn't require that to be a secondary alternative if no person is found as a full-time employee. It's essentially equal grounds in terms of one choice or another. There's no preference that's embedded in the charter that I'm missing. Am I correct through the chair?
I believe that I would agree with you, through the chair, I would agree with your reading on that. This would not hamstring a future administration to make a decision different than the current administration, even though our preference would be for a full-time employee in that position.
Thank you.
Is there any further discussion? Being none, we'll move to a roll call vote.
Mr. Delahanty.
Yes.
Mr. Moyo. Ms. Taylor. Mr. Wilcox. Chairwoman Conley.
Yes.
3-2, referral passes.
The next item on the agenda is other matters. Are there any other matters to come before this committee? Seeing none, there being no other matters, the July 18th, 2016 meeting of the Agenda Charter Committee stands adjourned. The next meeting of the Agenda Charter Committee will be on Monday, August 22nd at 5